running backs did well, Rod.
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. Coach?
All right, got through our second scrimmage today. I was hoping it was going to be it was a little warmer, but breeze was, actually the wind was blowing out there, so I was hoping it would be a little hotter, a little warmer on them. But it looks like we'll probably, because I think next weekend's supposed to be a little bit cooler again, so we'll have to wait until really the summer to get to some of the elements and the heat out there. But a little bit warmer, so provided a little bit more to go against, and hit really what we wanted to get. We went 156 plays, really 18 drives involved in it, and we did everything from starting on the minus 25 and working the field to then going a session of backed up on the minus 3 yard line and working the length of the field. And then we started putting the ball at the 50, and we go 50, 45, 40, 35, 30, working it down into the red area there. But wanted to see the guys really play the game today, not as much situational scrimmage, not really any situational scrimmage. We wanted to play them as they came up in the game, play the D&Ds as they came up in the game. All 4 special teams were utilized today. We were able to scrimmage those, and we weren't live. We were thud in the special teams part of it, but live everything else. So I think some of the things that stood out to me were, we had no turnovers today, which we had a few last week. We took care of the football. All 3 quarterbacks led touchdown drives out there today. Thought all 3 running backs ran well. We had 4 out there. Then, who was it? Jamal, Trey. Man, Trey just continues to impress. Dalen Gordon really, earned himself a role in this football team, more than just special teams. I mean, he had a really, really good camp. Just shows, and it's a credit to guys that stay in the program and stick around. And former walk-on that's earned a scholarship last year. And speaking of that, actually, another guy that has had a really, really impressive spring camp is Chris Elko, and I rewarded him on Friday by putting him on scholarship. That was one that, especially the time we're in right now, where everybody's, these guys are worried about, they're going to be walk-ons or not walk. I mean, I want to reward these guys, and guys go out and perform. Performance, is rewarded here. So, with that, Zion Taylor's had another good day today. Bailey Stockton, last week we struggled pass pro. Still got a ways to go with it, but we're much better today. I think it might have been 1 or 2 sacks that I didn't blow as opposed to last week's. I think there were, and when it's situational, it's a lot different too. Guys showed up today. I thought with Peyton Joseph in the front, just as far as a guy that can get some movement at the point of attack, and in some of those short yardage situations, we spent a lot of time on short yardage and goal line, and we had a lot of those come up today, so we're able to execute those. But and then defensively, just as a whole, the linebacker group, I thought has grown each day this spring. 0, 35. Let y'all figure those numbers out. Melvin and Kamen, Tajay. And Tajay's really, I thought Tajay showed up today, doing a lot of really good things. We've got a really solid, deep core there that any of those guys could start on any given day. I mean, we're really, really happy with that group, and you see that group really. Darius got here a week before practice started, and I think you really start to see the impact he's having on those guys as a whole, and the coaching and the teaching and the drill work they've been doing, and when they go out and play. On the back end, I was very impressed with Amari today. Amari was battling through some things. He went out there and played every snap. Showed the toughness that he normally does, and his cover skills, his tackling ability. The whole back end as a whole, we tackled much better today than we did last week. I thought we worked to get off blocks. Well, it's the ebbs and flows, right? You got to sustain them now on the other side of the ball. So, but I thought they were striking, using their hands, and that really started on Tuesday. You could tell the coaches really took the message that we had and delivered it to the players, and the players accepted the message and worked on it all week. CP and Omar, I think, continue to show up very positively. You see 2 older guys back there that played a lot of football, that have seen a lot of things on the other side, and they're in the right places. And I think Clayton's taking a lot of pride in improving, tackling, and he's done a much better job of that. So I've been pleased with those guys back there. Elgin Sessions is another one that continues to impress and show up. So That being said, we made strides from last week to this week. The things I was looking for were I wanted to see consistent energy from the team. Not fake energy, not bull crap, but guys on both sides of the field into it and supporting their teammates. And I saw that today. I was very encouraged by that. Didn't see the individual part. I mean, they were as a group going down, and they were with each other and stayed into it, good and bad. The ball security was a big one. We challenged the back end, like we said, with the tackling and getting off blocks. That improved. So we got to be very critical of it again this week and take that with the last week of spring practice. A week from now we'll be wrapped up and getting ready for finals and May break and getting ready back for summer. So we've got an important week coming up. We got a lot of guys that got to continue to improve and mature and grow and learn and then be able to go execute it next Saturday. So special teams, like I said, we got all of them in. Man, we got something with the punter now. I mean, he I'm not going to put a number on it. It was long, a lot of them. And then he's got touch. He can put it down inside the 5. So that is a huge, huge addition for us. And, he was a good football player last year. He was able to come back home this year for his final year. And been really happy with him. Aiden ended the day with a really good kick from the 32-yard line on the right hash. So we were, that was a little bit of a crux for us last year. And so he's worked hard, and you're seeing the impact of the revamping of the special teams out there in all phases. Been really pleased with the progression we've made. We've got a lot of guys now that can play special teams. So really moving forward after spring ball, we'll start paring those down, who the 2 deep are going to be on those spots. But anytime you increase your ability, increase your depth at linebacker and safety and corners and backs and tight end, I mean, that's your core special teams guys, and we've definitely done that. So we're by no means ready to play a game. Not saying we wouldn't go play one if we gave the opportunity. We'd go play this afternoon if we could, but we've got a ways to go. But I don't think there's a team in the country right now that will sit there and say they're a good team. I mean, they're looking at it different if they are, but I think we got a chance. As we go through these next several weeks, and so everything kind of lands out, and we got a chance to have a good core football team. I saw the offense come together. I saw the defense come together. So now the next step's everyone coming together. And I saw that this week. That was a big part of the thing I wanted to see this week, and I thought I started to see that. So all in all, I thought we had a clean scrimmage, made improvements. They have to understand we have to be critical on this thing and continue to make improvements. So.
I want to ask you about one of the positions you didn't mention in your update. The defensive end spot, you've added a lot of guys through the portal.
Yeah, I'm into it. I got Braden Manley's name written down here. I mean, Braden and Dre and triplets had a really good camp. So I started seeing Amontre show up, the other day, and which was good. He's, I just told him he's got to stop overthinking things. Just go play him. He's long. He looks apart. He can run. So he's starting to show up. That's been very encouraging to see. Christian, you talk about an athletic big man now. I mean, he can move, he can bend, he can do those things. He's also a guy that was out with the shoulder surgery previously, so he's getting back to the strength levels and whatnot you have to play at. Then inside on the D line, I think we all know who 99. I think everybody knows who 99 is. JJ's a good football player now. I mean, he's a disruptive, and he's the heart and soul of this team. I mean, and I believe all great teams are bred through the lines of scrimmage, and the way him and Keelan Rutledge go about their business every day and compete, work against each other, motivate by any means necessary others. Man, I'm after my own heart. Man, they are those two right there. That's the poster child of what I want this program to be defined as. Physical toughness, and Matt Alexander's been a really good addition for us. And the young guys are growing up; they're coming along. We had some some offsides today. Getting with a lot of those young guys. Landon's another one that's really come on. So I've been pleased with the development. Look, I don't say it lightly when I talk about Jess Simpson either. Now, Jess Simpson and Kyle Pope. Those two guys, they're as good as there is anywhere. And you see guys that being able to come into this program, whether they came from somewhere else or they came from high school, and how quickly they're able to develop. when you look at the progression last year of JJ from where he came from and what he was able to do last year, and look, at the end of the day, that's coaching. That is coaching. It's won't too on his part, but that's coaching too. And we have a great group of men over there that work to develop these guys and do it in a short amount of time and make impact on guys very quickly.
Yeah, I was going to ask that question. You've hired some good young coaches on the defensive side of the ball, and what have you seen from the development of their positions?
I just said it.
Yeah, well, I mean, could you go into the
I talked about
positions?
Darius.
Yeah.
I talked about Pope. Do you not have like number 3 on your list to ask? We just asked those.
Yeah, I'm talking about like Jones, Gideon.
I talked about Kobe last week. Blake's not young.
Okay.
Now Blake is fire now. Like you talk about, somebody that gets them playing hard, and you want your side of the ball or your team or your position to be a reflection of you. And I'm seeing that now in some of the tweaks we've made defensively and some of the things we're doing defensively are to be able to get guys, rallying to the ball, gang tackling, turnovers, interceptions, hands on ball. Had several times we got hands on the ball today. We've made a ton of improvement. I mean, Kobe, to walk in at that age and be able to coach a room it's not an easy room to coach, right? You have to have presence about yourself. They have to believe you and trust you, but you also have some presence and know when to get on them, when to love them up. And he's done a really good job. I mean, look, Amari Harvey just went through a whole scrimmage today, and probably could have not done it, right? Last year, I don't know. But I look at that as coaching. I look at that as the people that are around him every day, the people that are talking to him and motivating him, right, and telling him what it is about. And that's coaching. I mentioned CP and Omar. I mean, and I said last week, I think what I think about Corey. So I've been very pleased with the coaching staff and their relationships with the players, how they work with the players. And if you're going to coach a guy hard, you have to have a relationship with him, right? But if you're going to play the game of football, you have to be coached hard. I mean, it's not an easy sport. It's not an easy game, right? And these guys have to do things that most normal people don't want to necessarily do all the time, and that's coaching.
With the era that we're in, the landscape we're in, is spring ball now almost like a mini camp, like a tryout to sit down with some of these guys and say, this might not work out, and vice versa, some other guys maybe earn more of a spot than you thought?
Look, they made the transfer portal for a reason, to give guys opportunity that might not have it somewhere. And you see that all the time. There's good reason, and I'm not going to get on my soapbox right now. I'm not, right? Because every second I sit here and talk about something that I don't feel is the right thing to do, I'm losing time. I could be thinking about how to do it the right way and how to impact here at Georgia Tech. Right? That's what we do. That's what I've done. That's what I've spent the last week on. That's what I spent a lot of time every day on, is how to make it work right for here. Right? The most important portal is out there on that football field right now. That's the most important portal that's there, are the guys on our football team. And I want everybody to understand that. Like, the current Georgia Tech football team are the most important. Right? Now, there's some people that feel like they might not have the opportunity to play here as quickly, or maybe it's a senior and they want to. Look, I understand that. That's why they created it. And I'm more than willing to help those guys and talk through it. But you have to be open and honest about it. Now, we all know there's cuts have to be made, right? But just as there's cuts have to be made, there's Chris Elkos of the world that get put on scholarship too now. Right? So I don't necessarily go the status quo of what everybody else is saying on that. Right? I've learned pretty quickly you can't control other people's thoughts and feelings and what they want to do. You can't. Right? If you try to think you can, if you think you can, you've got something going that you need to bottle it and sell it now, because you can't do that. But you have to provide everything around these guys, right, and have the relationships with them that they know they're going to be. And if you guys remember, I said this last year, that there's really 3 things that guys look at in this landscape of college football we talk about. Can they be developed? All right, be developed to play the game as long as they want to play. All right, have an opportunity to play at the next level, win championships where they're at the place. There's the bonds, the relationships, the friendships that you have in that locker room. All right, and then there's the monetary. There's the money part. And I can't decide for any one person how those 3 things rank. I know how they rank for myself, but that's it. Right? I know how they rank for my family. Right? But and personally, I believe of those 3 things, there's not a better combination than here at Georgia Tech. There's not a better combination of those three things, right? But I can't make that decision for other people, right? So I've got to have a plan. I've got to show them how they can utilize those things here, how we can help them utilize those things here, right? And then have a plan when that's not the case.
Just follow up along those same lines. Think you'll add anybody to the roster for the fall, TBD, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
any certain position group you're looking at, or will it just depend?
Reporters.
Yeah.
Hey, you started it on April 1st. No, and seriously, it's a very valid and good question, because that's why it's created. All right, but I also believe in building a football team. All right, so football teams are built 12 months a year. You can't just look out there and say, and I tell the coaches this, and we all have to remind ourselves of this. Right, it's a developmental sport. Right, it's a developmental game. You can't just look out there and say, hey, man, that guy's not getting it done. I want to bring somebody else in. All right, well, how about I said that about you? Right, you're not getting it done, so how about we bring somebody else in? What's the difference? So I said I don't want to get on my soapbox. But we still have to develop guys. Right, that's what it's about. Right, then find the right mix and the pieces in. And what's in the NFL? Teams that do it through the draft and supplement through free agency. Right, there's a shared adversity that takes place at Georgia Tech and in the Georgia Tech locker room. Right, and to bring somebody in who has not had that type of, that day-to-day, who's not gone through what some of these guys have gone through. And I don't mean like trials and tribulations. I just mean the day-to-day course of action. They walk in for 6 months and they don't have any connection other than just on the field. It's hard to build real relationships and build a team that way. Not saying it can't be done, because we've had some really good players. I mean, Thomas Gore last year was one that got here, and he's a heart and soul of what we did. He's a great kid. So you got to be very selective and very, it's not just about finding the best player. It's not just about finding the best, this person at this position. Right? They still have to fit here at Georgia Tech in this locker room that we've created.
Coach,
I say we've created, that team has created.
Coach, I just wanted to ask you to expound just a little bit. I know you mentioned obviously Bailey Stocks. You talked about the receivers in your early press conference. Just want to ask you about Elko. Talked about him being on scholarship, but what have you just seen in terms of him and his development? I know you talked about a little bit, but last year he stood out, right? And he had a really good spring. He's doing it again.
Oh,
Is
he
it
was
his
like
route
spring
running?
game MVP, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Golly.
Yeah. What steps is he
All
taking?
y'all's message boards and everything were like blowing up about him.
Yeah. What steps is he taking for? Is it route running? Is it feel of the game?
It's everything. I'm not going to put a guy on scholarship, all right, for a feel-good story. All right, feel-good stories come from when guys perform and earn those things, and that's what's occurred with him. I mean, he's a viable target. I mean, look, you can't. There's not going to be the when the numbers and things, when they put the numbers to us and how many people are you can have on your roster. I mean, you got to do some different things and think outside the box a little bit. But you got a guy that's been in the program for 2 years, right? There's not one person on the good Lord's green earth that can say that person wherever is going to come in and be better than that. I know that person. I know that known commodity, right? I know how he goes about his business every day. I know how he practices. I know how he works. I know how he works on his craft. All right, his route running, his hands. He's a reliable target. All right, he can get open. I mean, he plays all 4 special teams. I don't know that about other people. We try to make our best judgment. All right, but when you got a guy that performs, he goes out and he executes and he makes plays, I'd be stupid to look past him. And he's not the only one. There's others that could be in that same situation moving forward over the next, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months. I mean, but, I'm proud of those guys.
You mentioned Peyton Joseph, and obviously a guy who just got here and early enrollee. And what is he doing at that right tackle spot to get himself in a position to
Right guard.
or right guard, whichever? Like, what are you seeing from him on the right side there to get him?
Moving people and stopping people. 3rd and 1, you run behind him, you get the first down. No greater feeling than moving a man from point A to point B against his will. Heard that? It's pretty. I mean, sad. I mean, he's not ready to play a game now. But as he puts his hands on people and locks them down, they don't really go anywhere. So, guys in front of him, we're going to run behind them. They go backwards. That's pretty good on O-lineman.
Follow up, just how do you gauge like someone like Josh Petty, who's a younger guy that obviously needs probably some weight room time and put
How do
weight
you know
on
that?
just looking at him, and it looks
So,
like
so now you're an evaluator? We got the NFL get you in there.
no, but just he's been the most dominant player probably on his team for a long time, right?
Who's that?
Josh.
All of them have. I mean,
And
all
so
those
how do
freshmen
you
have.
coach those guys through that
There's times he's the most dominant player here. I talked about him last week, though. Where were you? I know. I heard. I'm trying to spread the wealth here a little bit now.
appreciate it. You got Rod and Chad, so that's cool.
Go ahead.
Coach, I was wondering if you could. Andre Fuller was one of the first guys to jump aboard in the latest class, and he's never wavered. It seems like all that is carried over to his play on the practice field. And is he giving himself a chance to, play as a true freshman?
I don't know. I do not know if they won't play as a freshman. Ask me in 5 months. Like, we got a long time before now and then. There's a lot of guys that can play as freshmen, but it's hard to play as a freshman. It's hard to play as a true freshman. And be careful what you wish for. A lot of the ones that do end up about halfway through that year, holy cow. I mean, it's hard. It's hard. And I talked about Andre earlier. I mean, he made some plays out there today, but he's also a lot of things he's got to continue to get better at. There's not one freshman out there that's ready to walk on a field and play a football game. All right? There's not one player on our team that's ready to do that, much less a freshman. So to be able to predict that with another 4 months of strength training and weight gains, and look, they'll go through this. They'll go through installation another 3 times. In the summer, in the preseason camp. And I mean, next time they put pads on, they're going to go out and be like, "Wow, man, this is so much easier than it was before." Things have slowed down, so yeah, I mean, he's one of them that has a chance. Because he's got some strength, plays the game the right way. But time will tell if he is. But he's definitely in the mix to be one of those guys.
We talked H-backs earlier this week. What are you looking for in that position?
What's an H-back?
You tell me. I mean, we had Coach Dockery in here.
Is there a child in the locker room? That is the first time that's happened.
That is the first time that. Anyway,
What did you say?
guys like Avery Boyd or maybe Harper,
Avery's gone.
guys who are lining up sort of in that fullback, split tight end sort of position, who are kind of
We
lead.
got a lot of guys.
Yeah. What are you looking for out of that sort of
we had-
hybrid position?
We had a fullback in the game about 75% of plays today. I mean, under center. I mean, 2 pro. Versatility. They got it. That's a hard position. It's a hard position mentally to learn, right? And if you don't learn if you can't get aligned, right, and you can't, I say it all the time. If you can't get aligned, you can't get in the right stance, right? You don't know what the call is. You don't know what you're supposed to. I mean, there's no way you can go execute. You're just floating in the wind if you do that. And it's a hard position. I mean, it takes a lot of time outside of here. It takes a lot of work. But they're very versatile for us, right? Because they're matchup guys. We use them all over the field, but it's like those guys are learning 2 and 3 positions now. They're learning, the blocking schemes up front. They're learning the wide receiver things. They're learning what running backs do. And they're learning a lot of stuff. I mean, it's like threefold on them what it is other people, other positions. So we got a lot of bodies there. I'd like to see more consistency out of those guys. Consistency in our alignments and getting aligned and being detailed in what we do. But again, there's a lot of youth there too. So, that's a position I think we'll just sheer numbers will settle out as time moves forward. But, JT Byrne, he's not a H, he's a Y. But I mean, they're all used interchangeably in those things. And JT's come in and done a really nice job for us. Really nice job. He's got a lot to him. A lot of substance to him. Really good player for this football team, person in that locker room too.
Sure you want to wrap us up?
Yes, sir. So, Coach, you always give shine, obviously, to your coaches about this development and how they coach up to certain position groups. I do want to ask you, I feel like it's rarely asked, but just the weight and strengthening coaches, just the impact they've had, just, freshmen coming in, getting them ready, not only freshmen, but also your veteran players. Just talk about that aspect.
Okay, so there's probably not a greater compliment to give the strength coaches than being healthy. All right, we just finished our, what was the date? 11?
11.
Just finished our 11th day. There's hamstring here and there, an ankle here and there. it caused, but we hadn't had it really any. We had one injury really all, and it was a non-contact free kind of thing early, first or second day. So, I'm going to tell you, Troy Stevenson. Troy, had a knee early in camp and, non-contact. And other than that, though, we've been very healthy. And a lot of that's the weight room. It takes, you don't really see the full effects of a strength program until a couple years in. And now a couple years in, I think we're seeing that.
Okay. Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Go Jackets.